Welcome back to the YouTube channel. This is Matt with Coyote Creek Archery in Ellis, Kansas. And it's early December and I've got my tags filled. And so got some time to talk about some new bows we've got coming out. And this is one I've had for a while. I've just been busy, been swamped here in the store and haven't had a chance to get to it. Not because it's not a great bow, because it's a bow that I'm really excited about. Seems like I'm excited about all of them. This is one that's really caught my attention. It has the specs that I really like, and once we get to shooting it, you'll see how sweet it is. But this is the Elite Varos for 2026. It's a 32-inch axle-to-axle hunting bow, which is just really right in the sweet spot for a lot of people. You know, personally, I don't like to go much shorter than this. I'm a 32 to 34-inch guy, and makes a lot of sense being I've got an Ethos. Elite Ethos, it's 33, and I've got a prime form, which I'll have another video coming out talking about that, which is a 34. So I like bows in that length. Some people consider them to be longer axle-to-axle bows. I think they're right there in the middle. But specs on this, again, 32 inches axle-to-axle. It's got a brace height of 6 5/8, which again, I really like. You know, 6 1/4 to 6 3/4. Right in, so that's right there where I like for a brace height. Speed's up to 338. I'm not worried about the speed, but we'll check this on the chronograph and see what it gets. Draw length adjusts from 25 1/2 up to 31, which is nice to get that 31-inch draw length out of a bow, even a 32-inch bow. Draw weights, you can get peak draw weights in 40, 50, 60, 65, 70, and 75 pounds. They've got the mass weight listed a couple different ways. Here on the card, they have it at 4.55. The website shows 4.75, I believe. And we'll weigh this out. And I know that it comes in a little bit heavy, so I imagine, and I'm not sure why they do this, but I imagine they strip everything off that they can and are just weighing the bow that way, which doesn't make sense to me. That or their scales are off a little bit. Adjustable let off, which I love about these Elite bows. You can adjust it from 90 to, I believe, 75%. And I like to run it probably low 80s. I mean, I haven't ever checked it to see where it's at, but I've got it a couple of marks off at 90, because 90% is not that comfortable to me. And then they list a string angle of 37.1 degrees, which is kind of a neat system there. They have a lot of different color options. Lots of solid colors, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different camo colors. Personally, I'm a solid color guy. I feel like solid colors probably sell a little bit better in the store, because anymore people want to match things up. You know, they want they're wearing Sitka camo, they want to match their bow and their quiver and everything else. Or if they're wearing First Light or QU or Bottomlands or whatever it might be. That's why I like solid colors, because they go with about anything. And I really like the black on this for some reason. I've never owned a black bow. I really like the look at this. It's got a little bit more of a texture to it, which I like. And I may end up with one of these. But a couple things that they've got going on here that's new. You know, the rack system is nothing new. They've had that on the Exalt and on the Artis this last year, where you've got a Picatinny mount on your limb pockets, top and bottom. And then they've got some accessories that will mount to that. So they've got a tree stand rope, a hoist rope that will clip onto this. They've got a sling that will clamp onto the top and bottom. And then you've got kind of a shoulder sling for carrying your bow in and out, which is really nice. They also have a set of limb legs, which is great, which you can attach to the bottom, and then have limb legs on your bow if you're hunting out of a blind or something like that on the 3D range or whatever it might be, to support your bow, keep it from falling over. So that's a great feature. They also have the pick mount for your sight, the IMS mount for your rest, and this biscuit rest is actually attached to that pick mount. Still have the LTR, so your tunable roller guard, which is you can adjust some of that cam lean and some of your left-right tears with that. Not a lot, but you can correct some of that. But the thing that's going to help with your left-right tears a lot, I feel, is this split yoke. And they did this last year with the Artis. but they went a step further and they've added this cam timing system to this. So it probably adds a little bit of weight to it. It's kind of a neat feature. It's nothing new. It's new for Elite, but it's not something it's a new idea. But there's a set screw right here, and then you would turn this screw, and it's going to drive this, pull this cable in and out to adjust your cam timing. It is marked. So there are marks on here where you have an index to see how far you've gone, top and bottom. So you can really dial in that cam timing with this. And it's a nice feature. It's probably not something that I really personally care for or would need. I would just as soon have just the aluminum yoke that they had on the Artis, save a little bit of weight and not have the moving parts, because we've got 4 different screws here. And my concern is just something coming loose or moving when you don't want it to. So I like the simplicity. So nothing wrong with it, but personally I would prefer just to have a standard aluminum yoke, not the cheap plastic ones that you see on the Matthews and PSEs and that type of thing. This is aluminum. These yokes are served completely all the way around, so there's no loose strings or fibers or anything like that, which I really like. They go to the effort to do that. This does come with performance mods, and you can get smooth mods on this as well. But I will tell you, shooting this bow with the performance mods, it's really smooth. And personally, I would not even bother getting the smooth mods for this. It's that nice of a draw cycle. On my Omnia that I had and my Ethos, I put smooth mods on both of those, and it did help that draw cycle. I lost 4 to 5 feet per second, which is not a big deal. But this, I probably wouldn't spend the extra $70, $80, $90, whatever it is, to replace the modules. I would just keep the performance modules on there. But we'll talk about the draw cycle here in just a little bit. They did a different cutout on the riser, so lots more cutouts and different shapes in the riser, which I think looks really good. You still have your standard mount for your sight holes, so you can mount a sight to the side. You've got double burger holes for mounting your rest, which is nice. They still have the vibration dampener here on the riser, and their S.E.T technology. S.E.T is really nice for fine tuning. Typically what I try to do is get my paper tune set up by either shimming the cams, which I did on my Ethos, or small adjustments on the rest. With these yokes, it's going to help with that, and you should not have to do as much shimming the cams and those types of things. And then when I'm starting to shoot broadheads out to 40 yards, I'm shooting fixed broadheads, I can make some slight adjustments with this set and get things really fine-tuned with that. I don't use it much for paper tuning unless it's kind of a last resort. You cannot make dramatic changes with it, but you can really fine-tune things with the S.E.T, and that's a really nice feature. Also with the riser, you've got a back bar, threaded for a back bar here. You've got all kinds of cutouts for quivers, 2-piece quivers, or their called their sidekick, which is their back bar mount that integrates into the riser, which is really nice. I've got one on my Ethos, and just great bows. I love the grip. Elite has one of the best grips. The bows hold really nice. Yeah, they might have a little bit more weight than some others, but having that extra weight does several things, I feel. It makes the bow more stable. I've had some bows, and I'm not going to name names, but some of the newer bows, they try to shave a lot of weight out of, these aluminum bows, and they're hard to tune because that riser flexes. They take so much out of it that there's some flex there. I don't feel like you're going to get that with the Elite, and this bow is just going to hold really well. The grip is great. You're not going to have any vibration or anything like that. Just outstanding bows. Elite always makes really quality stuff, and I'm excited about this bow. That 32-inch 6 5/8 is just a sweet spot for a hunting bow, or even for a 3D setup. Would be a great setup as well. So enough talking about this. Let's go shoot it and talk through the draw cycle, talk through letting it down, and we'll see what speeds we're getting. So we're going to take some shots with the Elite Varos. I This is a 70-pound bow. Typically, Elite bows run a little bit hot, a little bit over their max draw weight. And I was able to take, they allowed you to take 3 turns out of the limbs, 3 turns out of the limb bolts. I got it at 62 pounds, is as close as I can get it. I like to shoot about 60, even a little under that sometimes is not bad, but 60 pounds is kind of right where I like to be. I got it at 62, and I'm a 28-inch draw length. I have this set at 28 inches on the mods. Feels a hair long. I measured it, and it's about 28.25, so I would probably go down one setting on these. The nice thing is you do have 1/4 inch draw length adjustments, so you can really fine tune that draw length. And so I would make probably a couple little changes to this. Actually, I would probably get this as a 60-pound bow for myself. That way I had the option to go 60 pounds. You could still probably get 62, 63 pounds out of it max. And then, but if I wanted to go under 60, I'd have the option to do that. And then maybe make an adjustment to the draw length. But we're just going to shoot it where it's at for now. We're really close to that 60 pounds and 28 inches that I like to shoot. And but let's talk through the draw cycle first. And it's going to feel a little bit heavy being at 62 pounds versus the 60, but very linear. And I don't even notice a dump or a hump into that back wall, into that valley. It's just pretty straight all the way through. You know, very solid. And then to let off, it's right what I would like to have. Having these split yokes, you lose the option of having the limb stops that you typically would have on Elite bows. So you don't have that limb stop, but you have a nice wide cable stop on here, and it's very solid at the back end. Again, I'm not at 90%. I'm 2 marks off of 90%. If you had 90% let off, you would probably have a little bit more of a rollover into that valley. String angle feels really good. And then to let down, it's perfect for what I would want. I don't have to push it forward, but it's not jumpy either. It's just real easy to control. So I really like where I have it set. Again, I'm just 2 marks, and if you can see that on here, I've just moved it 2 marks to adjust that let off and just get me a little bit more holding weight, and it really makes it comfortable for what I like to shoot. So let's take a shot. I've got the Garmin set up here, and we'll see what we're getting for speed. Again, I'm at 62 pounds. I'm at real close to 28 inches, maybe a little bit on the long side, and I've got a 400 grain arrow. Bow holds really nice. I love the grip. Always loved Elite grips. Absolutely dead, and we're getting 273.5, which is right there where I'd expect. Right there, that's fast for me. Anything over about 265, 270 is moving. So I would have no problem shooting this at 59, 60 pounds, dropping that down into the upper 260s, maybe even shooting a little bit heavier arrow, 265 feet per second, and that would be plenty fast for anything that I need. Let's shoot it again, see if we can get a comparable speed, and give you an average. So this Garmin's typically, usually don't have much for variation in it, but we'll shoot another one, mostly because I just like shooting the bow, and give you an idea of what we're getting here. Again, you can see that this draws real easy. There's no rollover into the valley at that let off setting. Back wall is firm. The bow just wants to sit there. And I don't feel any vibration on the shot. 273.5. Okay, so that's what we're getting in our speeds. Again, a little bit over 60 pounds, 62 pounds, and then just a touch over 28 inch on the draw length, 400 grain arrow, 273.5 feet per second. So nothing to sneeze at there. This, again, Elite did a great job. I liked the Artis last year. I liked the direction they were heading with the split yokes and going with the integration and those types of things. For me, it was a little bit short. You know, I'm just a 28-inch draw length, but I don't shoot short bows that well. And to me, anything under 32 is a short bow. 32 to 34, I consider kind of a mid-sized bow, and then you get over 34, you get into those 35s, 36s. You're more in a target length or kind of a hybrid length bow that you would have for 3D. Those would be more on the longer end. So I like to stay in the middle, 32 to 34 inches, and this fits really nice into what I would like in a hunting bow. The Elite finish, I don't talk about it enough. It's probably one of the best. Elite and Prime, and I know I'm biased because I sell both of those brands, but their finishes are extremely durable. They just hold up really well. I have a customer that had, he bought a Cairo 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago, and he has ran thousands and thousands of arrows through the bow, and the finish looks immaculate, like the day that he bought it. Okay, so they just hold up really well. A lot of your other bows are going to chip and flake. You're going to have wear around the grip, and you're going to start to see where the finish starts to rub off and those types of things. You don't have that with these Elite bows. This something that they do makes for a really nice finish bow. So something that they do really well. But that should cover pretty well everything on here. Don't be surprised if you see me shooting one of these later in the year for hunting season. I know I still have my Ethos from a couple years ago. That's kind of become my 3D bow. Absolutely love it. But this kind of fills a gap of something that I'm kind of looking for in my setup as well. Again, I do have another bow that I'm going to talk about that I use for hunting this year. I'll have a video coming up on that. But don't sleep on this bow here. This is a great bow, and it's going to fit a lot of people, especially with that 31-inch draw length and having the specs that it has. Having all the technology and adjustability that it has built into it, you really can't beat it. They've got so much going on here. So fantastic bow. Hopefully this video helps you out and gives you some little bit of information about what you might be looking for. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. CoyoteCreekArchery.com is a website. You can find my contact information on there. You can always send me an email, shoot me a text, give me a phone call, and I'd be glad to help you out in any way that I can. I also have the online store, so while you're there at the website, take a look at what we've got in stock, and if you're interested in purchasing something, we'd appreciate that. But just here to help you out, help you make a good decision on your purchase. And if you're in the area, stop by. I'd love to help you get you into a new bow, or just get the one you've got tuned or strings or whatever you might be. We'd be glad to help you out here. So folks, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.